Well, hello and and welcome to Motivation Monday night. I guess this is better late than never. We're probably all aware that Facebook had some technical difficulties today. It's really interesting that it's Mercury retrograde right now, if you believe or follow anything astrology wise. Um, Anyhow, I intended to be here today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with a little bit of tidbit of information to help support you throughout this week. If you are dealing with any kind of menopausal symptoms or peri-menopause, um, the reason I wanted to bring this to you today, obviously, I've been here on Mondays offering weekly tidbits of information to help spark on or spur the week of some kind of intention or focus from a health and wellness perspective. But October happens to be Menopause Awareness Month. So I wanted to bring that to the forefront today to dive deeper into this subject. I think it's a really large subject for us women. It is like the rite of passage from our reproductive years to our non-reproductive years. So it has a big impact in our lives, and it can be physically, physiologically, emotionally, mentally. And I'm hoping that I can offer you some support or some tools or some resources that you can lean on if and when you are going through this chapter of your life. So some of you may have already been through this stage and this is maybe redundant to you, and that's fine. You can just keep on scrolling and find some information that is going to be helpful for you today. However, if you already have gone through this transition, I would welcome you to stay as well. Because what I'm going to be talking about, I think, applies to all aspects of life. There is the fundamental of how it affects menopause and perimenopause. But I do believe that what we're discussing contributes to overall well-being. So whether you are just starting into this transition, if you've already got your toe in the water, if you're walking over the bridge already um, from one aspect to another, or maybe somewhere in between, I invite you to stay. And hopefully, as I said, my intention is to offer you some guidance and support and some resources to reduce the impact, to reduce the symptoms of menopause. So what I find, as you know, I'm a health coach, I'm a holistic nutritionist, been doing this for over 11 years now. So I predominantly deal with women, and I predominantly deal with middle-aged women. So menopause is a very big deal and a very big subject. And what I have seen, and again, it's a bit of a blanket statement. So the symptoms that I see arise may not apply to you. They may actually apply to you. I'm sure you're going to have your own story and your own experiences and your own symptoms, but what I often see are some pretty commonalities that I'd like to share with you here. So most of them, most often, what I see is anxiety, increase in heart rate or heart palpitations, irritability or mood swings, and sleep disturbances. Those are kind of the key symptoms of perimenopause. And perimenopause is usually when the symptoms are at the height and most recognizable because we are transitioning from our reproductive system and functions and hormones reducing. So I would say hot flashes, night sweats, the palpitations, the anxiety, and the sleep disturbances are by far the most common. There are much greater and more symptoms as well that represent. So I'll just cover them off here too, just one to understand you're not alone, and what may be a symptom of menopause that you may not, or perimenopause that you may not even be acknowledging or identifying as a menopause symptom, because they can often be blended with other symptoms of what's going on in your health and wellness life. So mood swings, as I said, is a really big one. Irritability, depressive mood, fatigue, even at times exhaustion. There are some people that represent with sexual issues or problems, vaginal dryness, those sorts of things, or low libido. So I just want to also highlight that these symptoms get worse when we have stress. And the reason for that is, and why I want to talk to you today, um, is how stress actually impacts our transition through this very crucial period of time. So you may know that when we enter into perimenopause and menopause, our reproductive organs start slowing down their function. They stop producing or reduce the production of estrogen and progesterone. So what happens is when they eventually stop doing that job, that role then gets passed on to our adrenal glands. So our adrenal glands, as you may know, are responsible for many things, but one of the key roles is to produce hormones, and that those hormones are stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol. They also contribute to our sleep and wake cycles and hormones, but are also our circadian rhythm. So when we are stressed, and then just by life and lifestyle, and then we add on another layer of when the ovaries stop doing what they have been doing, and we give that job and that responsibility to the adrenals. Now they have that additional workload to do. And if they're already taxed, this job is very cumbersome to them. So this is why we get heightened symptoms for those that are stressed. So you may know people that go through menopause with a breeze, like there's not even a blip in the radar. And you may know other people, and you may be one of these people, that um, feel the symptoms significantly and in a much more drastic way. So going through menopause does not have to be symptomatic. I think we have conditioned ourselves and our the stigma around menopause um, supports that there are all kinds of issues, and sadly, that can be common. So, one of the key things that we can do, and I wanted to talk to you about today, is giving our adrenals some support during this time of transition, and this is really key. So, when I talk to women in my coaching practice one on one, most of us don't even know that we are stressed because we just take it in stride. This is it. This is how life is. I got this. I'm handling it. It's actually okay. Um, and coupled with the fact that at middle age, this is often a time where we're already stressed from life demands, career, children, parents, whatever it is. And particularly now in our current environment, we have a whole global stress that's added to us. So if you are one of these people that, even if it's an acute stress period where you're just experiencing stress for a short period of time, um, your symptoms may be heightened and worsened for menopause symptoms because of the level of stress that's put on your entire body, mentally, physically, and emotionally. So, I just wanted to highlight the importance of dealing and supporting and nourishing your adrenal glands while or as you enter into or as you're going through this critical stage of menopause. So, some indications that your adrenals may need some support, whether you're going through menopause or not. If you have poor sleep quality, if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, if you have changes in the way that you deal or address stress, if you have blood sugar fluctuations, if you find yourself tired all the time, mood swings, irritability, these are all signs that your adrenals may need some love and some attention. So I'm going to dive deeper into this topic this month. I'm going to be talking more about stress reduction strategies, and I think it's really something very easy for us to say, like, yeah, just reduce stress. But actually, how do you make it real? And I can attest to this myself. Um, you may be stressed if you are um, if there's a constant low grade of like anxiety just beneath the surface. This may be an indication that you know that everything needs to get done within the day, like you're pushing yourself to get it all done in a day. If you feel like you just need a couple more hours every day, so if you're constantly rushing, these are all signals that you may be in a stress environment and not even recognizing it. So I wanted to highlight that because we often don't recognize our own levels of stress because we're women and we can spin many plates and juggle many things all at the same time. So let's dive into the role of supporting the adrenals and really reducing stress. So, one of the key ways you may know as a holistic nutritionist, I approach everything from a holistic level. So, it's not just one thing. There is no magic bullet, there is no one magic pill that people can take to either reduce stress and or deal with menopause symptoms. It is a barrage or a collection of small little things that you can do to help support yourself go through this, not only to reduce stress, but also to deal with menopause symptoms or perimenopause. So, one of the things that I think most people reach for automatically would be some supplementation. So there are some very good herbal remedies that can be supportive to you, and also flower essences. It would be very customized before I would recommend any specific flower essence. But from a herbal remedy, there are a couple that stand out. And if you just Google, you'll find your own. So black cohosh is one of the ones that's often talked about in a lot of literature that you'll find, which is great and does have a lot of clinical data and studies behind it that does show some reduction in menopause symptoms. The one thing that I have found, not for me because I didn't need it, but for my clients and that I still recommend today, is Siberian rhubarb. So it's not Siberian ginseng, it's Siberian rhubarb. It's one component, it comes from one plant, and that's it. This is being shown to reduce particularly hot flashes, night sweats, and temperature changes, and also other menopause symptoms. So Siberian rhubarb. If you need to know where to find that, you can reach out to me directly. I can give you the name of the supplier that I use and the source that I get it from, although there are probably many out there. So it's really easy to say, if you're stressed, just reduce your stress. But I think one of the key things that we need to recognize when we're stressed is, first of all, the awareness of what is stressing us. So first of all, just identifying and having this sense of awareness. And then the next step, of course, is if you can't eliminate those stressors, is to reduce the things that are triggering the stress response. So we get into flight or fight response. So our adrenals are already taxed. Now our ovaries are stopping to do their job, and now our adrenals have that much more to do. So we need to encourage an environment of getting out of fight or flight, to be into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is to rest, to digest, to calm things down as best as we can. So another way that we can stress our body, sadly, is by our diet. I wouldn't be a full-fledged nutritionist if I didn't talk about the impacts of our diet and how that affects our physiological selves and our biochemical selves. So eating foods that trigger stress response often or add additional stress to the body. So things that are like sugar, alcohol, caffeine, packaged foods, processed foods, things with toxins, chemicals, herbicides, pesticides, different types of additives. These all add an additional job onto the body that the body needs to filter and actually eliminate. So this is an extra job that the body needs to do. So the more that you can minimize these types of products in your diet, eat whole natural foods from the earth that actually support your hormonal system, your blood sugar fluctuations. These are all really quite imperative. I shouldn't dismiss also the toxins that are apparent in your environment. So your health and like your body care products, your beauty care products, your home cleaning products, all of these toxins, if you are subjected to toxins in your environment, you're going to want to look at that and reduce it as much as possible so that you're not adding an additional workload onto your body. I think it's pretty clear. A couple of the key ways to reduce stress, obviously, is to move your body, to exercise in a way that doesn't cause more stress. And interestingly enough, exercising too much, over exercising, is an additional stress. If we think about what exercise does at its highest level, we stress our muscles so they get stronger. So if you're working out too hard, this is an additional stress. But a nice gentle form of exercise is really fantastic to keep the body strong, pliable, the blood flowing. Really great for endorphin release, et cetera, et cetera. So exercising at a level that is suitable and not too taxing to the body or to the mind. So finding actually movements that you enjoy is really quite critical. Yoga, meditation, breathing exercises, these are all things that can support your nervous system and help you down regulate the amount of stress that you're dealing with. So can journaling. One thing that I'm a really big proponent of is getting outside first thing in the morning, letting sunlight hit your eyes as soon as you can early in the day. This helps regulate our hormonal rhythms, clocks, systems within our body, and particularly our circadian rhythm. And I think it's something relatively simple that we can do. Is just getting outside. It doesn't have to be vigorous. It doesn't have to be a walk or a jog, but even spending 2 to 10 minutes outside in daylight in the beginning of the day is really helpful to help balance your clock, your body clocks. All right, EFAs and vitamin E are also proving very helpful, but I think the one key aspect, if you're to reach for one thing, if you are experiencing these kind of symptoms, would be looking at Siberian rhubarb. So I'm going to dive deeper into this topic about stress reduction, stress management, how we deal with it, and particularly today in the world environment, I think we are all feeling some level of stress, more so than we have in future years. We all experience stress all the time. Just a fluctuation in your body temperature is a stress. So I think this is an important subject, and I think that it's really great that it's weaved into Menopause Awareness Month here in October. So I'm going to be diving deeper into this topic. I do, however, I would strongly support and welcome any suggestions that you have. If you've been through this, if you've been through menopause, if you're going through menopause, and if you have some strategies, some tips, some resources that you'd like to share, I welcome you to drop them in here. This is meant to be a very collaborative and supportive community. Even though I'm the person that started this group and I have an education and background in health and wellness, I do not have all the answers. And I believe that we as women, as we come together and unite, this is one of our strengths and our beauties and our gifts, is to be able to collaborate and share as a sisterhood. So I welcome you to share your resources, share your knowledge, share with other people, and comment and connect. I think this is needed so much more now today than ever, this sense of connection, unity, community, sisterhood. So I invite you to share as much as you feel comfortable with. I understand you're behind a screen and it may not feel that welcoming, but I do welcome you to share. And I hope that out of this topic, that the summary is dealing and addressing your adrenal health and your adrenal system. If and when transitioning through menopause, and not even through menopause, through life. This is a really big key component. So let's talk further about how and ways to manage stress. And if there's any other suggestions that you have, any additional feedback, any subjects you want me to dive deeper on, this is a place to let me know. I'm going to be talking a little bit further this Wednesday, October the 6th, in Zoom live. I'm going to be talking about metabolic balance, weight loss, and how it affects hormone health. So I invite you, if you're looking for something to do, if you want to connect, I'll be live in Zoom. So it's a place where we can actually have a conversation, where you can actually ask me questions in real time. I'll invite you to join me there. And if not, I wish you a wonderful week. Now that Facebook's up, I'm sure you can catch up on everything that we missed in the last, I don't know, whatever it was, 7 or 8 hours. But I hope you have a wonderful week and happy Monday. And I will look forward to seeing you soon. Bye for now.